What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Quest for 18 podcast. I am one of your hosts, Allan, joined by Earl, one of our other co-hosts. Shout out to Jake as well. I see, I believe he's like, traveling in France. Shout out to him. Hopefully, once he's available, we'll get him back on here. And yeah, he's Earl. How you doing? We're talking Lakers. We're back. What's going on?
Yo, can you hear me? All right, baby. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been set up. Yeah, let me get my camera on and I'm ready to go. But yeah, I'm doing fantastic, man. It's honestly been a while since we've been able to kind of lock in and do Quest for 18. Schedules have been like kind of like all over the place for us all, but we had a nice little vacation. But now it's back to our summer runs. Like people, if you're just joining us now, like Quest for 18 summer is really where we did like a lot of our foundational building for this podcast. So it's really fun to get kind of back to the basics. I say like not the stress of having live games, which is cool. It's more so just kind of looking at the future of things, which is always a positive thing. Especially now that we have Luka Doncic and we can kind of settle in and let that process. So yeah, I'm doing good, Allan. How about you?
Good. Like I said, we have Emmy basketball. Shout out to the OKC Thunder. So they got that W versus Denver, and yeah, we're also live on TikTok as well. Shout out TikTok and yeah, YouTube as well. So everything's just going good. We're just chilling, having fun, and yeah, excited to talk about Lakers, about draft and season. So he's going back to the season. Earl was like for you, what is one word that would describe the Lakers season after taking a long break and just like at least soaking in, you could say, this Lakers run.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me. I think I fixed my camera, guys. It's been acting a little buggy. There we go. We back. Okay, we here. All right, yeah. What's up, chat? What's up, Allan? Good to actually see you right here. We chilling and we're chilling. But yeah, for me, wait, can you ask that question one more time, Allan? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was asking you like at least having a couple weeks off, taking a break from the Lakers. Like, what is at least one word that would describe this, at least the season that was the Lakers?
Oh, yeah, that's good. My one word to describe the season for Lakers is exhausting. I think we can all admit, like for us here, particularly like doing Quest for 18 and like covering Lakers, we did every single game, and I don't think people realize like how hard that is. Whether it's a lose or win. Me, I'm on the East Coast, so most games for me end around like 1, maybe 2 a.m. And depending on like how things go afterwards, live spaces, just creating content, stuff like that. Like most nights for me on the season is like 3 something a.m. like till I'm done. So that part of it like exhausting, and then like the Lakers part of it, like watching games and like being so in tune to games, like it's really fun, don't get me wrong, but like you're really in it. Wins, like if you have a crazy lead, or you blow a lead or something like that, you get an electric win, or when every play counts and it's just all energy, it's all electric on stage with everybody. Like it just takes like a lot of energy. So I don't think people understand like that part of that side of it. Like don't get me wrong, it's fun doing streams, I love it, but man, it was exhausting, and I think it's okay. Not saying it's a bad thing in particular, but when you really like love something and love to do something, like it just comes with the game. So for me, like just looking at the overall season of the Lakers, for me it was exhausting. Like we we were here putting in hours, man, late nights every single day. What's up, Mark? Yeah, Mark was here too. Pretty much every stream. Like so when Allan asked me like the one word that wraps up my Lakers season experience is exhaustion, bro. Like it was fun. Like I'm looking forward to next season, but we took a couple weeks off. Like it's good to kind of get your mind right and cleared. So now our takes aren't as emotional. Like we can kind of process things and start building towards the future and focus on Lakers podcasting again, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, like I said, this season for me is more or less I can maybe say confusing, but it's
Okay.
just like heartbreaking in that this
Yeah.
team it was like a roller coaster. Like I said, we were going up
Mhm.
and down. We had hope for Anthony Davis, JJ Redick, but just this team overall was just confusing. Like you want to see them succeed, but at the same time, you're like, we're just not that good. Like we could be good, but we're just not that good. So it's like it's
Yeah.
confusing. We believe in them, but they make us not believe in them.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, and a lot of emotions went through that. Like, we had to process like Anthony Davis being gone, and like when you have big in season trades like that, I think the first step is really just like avoiding those feelings, obviously, because I can't sit here and be like, oh dang, I really miss AD and AD would have done this and that when like we got Luca now. Like I have to process the thoughts of like, okay, Luca, um, he didn't ask to be here either. Like all this is random from him as well. And like the future looks bright. I understand that, but we as Lakers fans, I feel like it just happened so fast. Like we had all these years of Anthony Davis being that guy. All of us like kind of cheering on Anthony Davis, talking about how he performed well versus Jokic and Klutch and stuff like that. Like different situations like that. Going from that and cheering from that guy, like everything. Going through people talking about injuries and us defending him on our timelines every single night. When guys like Charles Barkley are calling him Glass Bones and all these different crazy nicknames, street clothes. Us defending AD till okay random night we're all sitting down like chilling. I'm like I remember the story now. Like I was literally making wings. Like I was cooking wings and I see the report Anthony Davis traded for Luka Doncic. I was like, all right, we're all lying now. We're in a big group chat if you didn't know it. Like that group chat went absolutely crazy that night. We hopped on a space for probably like 3 hours. I didn't really sleep that night at all because it was just shocking. And then you have to wake up, wait a couple weeks, and Luka Doncic is like the face of your team now, and you have to go to a playoff series with no experience, as far as like roster camaraderie, and team chemistry is all pretty much cooked because it was built around AD and LeBron, and people still expect you to win championships because it is the Lakers, even though there's pieces like not a legitimate center on the team. We have to buy into the fact that hey, we're winning a championship this year because that's what we do as fans. Like we're not gonna say, oh, we're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Like what fun is that? So I agree with you. A lot of emotions into this season, and it was just a roller coaster, man. Like mentally, it's just hard to process. But now that we have time, like I've had time to sit back and be like, okay, Luka is our future. And I just want to give like appreciation to Anthony Davis because like I appreciate everything he did for us. He came here first year, locked in. We won a championship, even with the circumstances that were given to us with the COVID stuff, and all that type of things. Um, I miss him, bro. Like I do miss him, but I'm hopeful for the future, man, and hopefully Rob Pelinka can lock in this summer and start building that roster around Luka Doncic, and we can have a bright future. But shout out to AD. I know Mark in the chat; he's a big AD guy. No, I know I 100% agree with you, Mark. And I was just saying, like, for me personally, like I can't sit there in the middle of a playoff series and just think about Anthony Davis. Like mentally, like that's not fair to him or like just my sanity watching Lakers because there's nothing I can do about it. Like right now, I'm in the we're in the Luka Doncic era, so like seeing him now, like that's my focus. But after, like I said, like hadn't a couple weeks to kind of process things, it definitely like has settled in a lot better for me, like a good balance, healthy balance.
Yeah, I know. Russell not talk about AD a lot, but
Yeah.
like weird thoughts about like conversations about like people, at least on Twitter or X or even
Mm.
like I said social media, like they're posting the clips or even was it statistics of Anthony Davis scoring the 20 points, getting those rebounds versus the Timberwolves. So like obviously that
Yeah.
was a game one, and also he did perform well in some other games versus Minnesota,
Yeah.
but like I feel like that does I feel like that does come in mind. Like what if we
Yeah.
had Anthony Davis? But
Yeah.
at the same time, like we got to focus on this current team.
Yep. And I think that's fair. And I think that the point people are missing is like these are conversations we've already had. We sat here and talked about this on this podcast. We talked about it during games. Like, what does the future look like without LeBron James? We all sat here, like most of us, 95.5% of us said, I don't see Anthony Davis being our main guy. Like, I can't see us having a team and Anthony Davis is our star. And I think to that point as well, we were so locked into the focus of okay, we're a win now this season type of team. Like that was our objective. We go get another center. We're a championship team this year. And I think when you trade for Luka Doncic, that perspective slightly shifts out of this season, which we had that conversation too. A lot of us had a conversation like, okay, this year we don't have like crazy expectations because this roster doesn't make sense for Luka. But I mean, to the emotional side of the fan base, like even myself, like you can't go out there and just be like, oh, you can't write off series like mentally. Like we see them play, we're like, okay, we can win this. Like we have a chance to win this. There were moments where they showed, okay, maybe we can do this, and just fix a little things in the offseason. But obviously, when it came down to it, like competing in a series, it just didn't happen that way. So what I have to say about fans who are like, okay, if we had AD, we advance here, okay, cool. But then what after that? How many more years do we have with LeBron James? 1, 2, and then it's just what Anthony Davis and who Austin Reeves. No offense to Austin Reeves, but like Mark will say in the chat, he'll agree with me. Which we kind of had this argument. Obviously, like I'm yielding this to Mark about Austin Reeves just not being a playoff riser because Mark was right. He has not consistently shown he can rise in the playoffs and help us win rounds. Like maybe a game or two, a year or two ago, but like right now when we needed him to win, he was one of the biggest reasons why we couldn't advance. He had every single open shot opportunity, and he didn't knock him down. So imagine him being like the second main guy on the team and having the defensive pressure of the main defender on the team. Like, what does that look like? Does he go to like 9, 10 points a game? Like, I don't know. Does it get worse? Probably so. So that's my biggest concern. Like, what does the future look like with AD and Reeves as your main guys compared to now? It's like, okay, did we lose this year? Yes. Did we get absolutely destroyed? Yes. Is it fixable? Yes. And our championship window is extended. Even if LeBron James was to be like, hey, I'm retiring tomorrow, would I be sad as a basketball fan, as a Brown fan? Of course. But as a Laker fan, I really wouldn't be because the future is safe. Like we have Luka. He's going to have a whole offseason to work, get conditioned, and we're going to build a whole team around him, regardless if it's this year or when LeBron James retires. So that's kind of my thing. Yeah, he's neutral or a dropper outside. Yeah, I actually agree with that statement now, Mark. I know we had an argument about that before, but I'm with you, man. Like neutral and or a dropper for real. But that's kind of my thoughts. Like, could Anthony Davis have helped us win this year? For sure. I agree with that. But future-wise, Luka was the smartest decision this Lakers organization has made in a long time. So I love AD. I'm processing those feelings still. Great player. Great all-time Laker, in my opinion. And he contributed a lot of stuff to this organization. So I'll never take that away from him. But now my focus is like strictly, okay, what can we do to make Luka happy? What pieces can we get to fill out his team, fill out his roster? Because it's his now. Make it more comfortable for him to play basketball. So that's kind of what I got. And the first thing is surround that dude by as many two-way players as you can. Easily. So, yeah, even if it's at the cost of Reeves. But yeah, that's what I got, Allan. So I'm feeling a little long-winded today, guys. Like I'm giving these long speeches. It's been a minute.
I said, yeah, the Quest 18 pod. Like I said, we dropped some hot takes. We give some valid opportunities and just talk about the Lakers and nothing, everything. I said AD was a good, sometimes even great player. Sometimes we do miss them on the court. We could have definitely used them versus a larger Minnesota Rose team, but I think that heading to this offseason, big should be our priority. And speaking of bigs, I said let's look a little bit transition to the NBA draft for this one. And it's just the Lakers are searching for a big man. Like I said, that is the reported news. We're seeing Austin Reeves could be quote unquote untouchable unless a potential top big man could be on the market. Some people talk about Embiid, some people talk about Giannis, some people are talking about just several big men on the court. So it's just about for you, Earl. Is Austin Reeves untouchable? That's my first question. And second, where should he go? Or not where should he go, but what big man should they target?
Okay, so let's just get this out the way. Is Austin Reeves untouchable? Absolutely not. Nobody on this Lakers team is untouchable, except for, in my opinion, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is now our one and only untouchable player. And even in that slight conversation, I'm including LeBron. Obviously, LeBron's not getting traded. I'm not saying that. But if you have to prioritize like Luka's future over like what LeBron wants right now, then all of my chips are going to Luka's basket. Moving on. Like starting this offseason, it is the Luka era. Like if LeBron wants to join the team again, he has to understand that this is built for Luka Doncic. And I think that's fair to say. So I'll start there. Austin Reeves is not untouchable. And I'm gonna give another shout out to Mark because Mark knows ball. Mark said this in the beginning. You can't, and I was a victim of this too. Like now that you see it in the playoffs, like because that's my biggest thing. I like to see how things play off in the most competitive atmosphere in the NBA. Like when it comes down to competing for championships, how does this look? And Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves together just don't look great. And it's because they're not great defenders. And I seen somebody argue with me on Twitter talking about you don't know basketball if you say Reeves is he's a bad defender. No, I do watch basketball. I've sat here and watched every single game up to 2 a.m. most nights. So I do know ball. I watch ball. And you guys are so emotionally attached to Austin Reeves that you create these unnecessary biases when it comes to his defensive game. Like, can he hold his own sometimes? Yes. Is he anywhere plus average defender? No. And you can't have him and Luka playing together like that. It's barbecue chicken as we've seen in the playoffs. Like, it's not going to work. So for me, if you can get any like top big, I don't care who it is, any big who fits Luka's timeline, I'm down for it if it costs Reeves. I do not care. I truly do not care. And that's no disrespect to Reeves. I love him. I would love a future where he could still be on this team. But if we can upgrade the roster in any way with a guy who's particularly like a two-way player, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. No hesitation. So that's my first thing. I'll move for Kessler. Huh. Look. Oh, man. See, look. Okay. I'm still not 100% sold on the Kessler thing, bro. Like, I like Kessler, bro. I just think y'all are treating him like the second coming of Shaquille O'Neal. I think that's where my thing is. He's a great player, great defender. I think it'd be probably perfect next to Luka Doncic. But maybe I'm just falling in the category of overhyped until I see it next to us. But obviously a solid pickup regardless. So if that costs Reeves, I would ideally, it would make me feel better if we got some type of guard back in that package, Mark, if that's fair. Like, just not anything crazy, but like just a guard back and then Kessler. I think I'd be more comfortable with that. I don't know how the contracts look, but processing it in my head, I think that's the best way I can be like, okay, I'm okay with giving this type of thing up. I'm treating him like the second coming of Rudy Gobert, who won defensive player. True. But at that, okay. We'll sit with that. I'll sit with that. Yeah, but I know you brought up like big names like Joel Embiid and stuff like that. How would you particularly feel about Joel Embiid? Like, I don't see a world where we can even afford Joel Embiid. Like, even people were like, oh, well, we got Luka, but like still we had Anthony Davis to trade in a Luka deal. Like, even though that was still considered like a low price, he is still a top player in the NBA. We don't really have that to offer. And I just don't see the 76ers wanting Austin Reeves when they have Tyrese Maxey, they have Jared McCain, and they have the number 3 pick, who they'll probably get another top guard or maybe Ace Bailey as well. So I just don't see a world where we can get Joel Embiid. But people who are worried about the injuries, I truly do not care. If there is a world where we can get Joel Embiid on this team, I do not care about the injury risk. I don't care about the foul baiting. I do not care about the ethical basketball standards that Joel Embiid brings to your organization. I don't care. If I get a chance to have Joel Embiid and Luka Doncic together on the basketball court at the same time, and potentially LeBron James as well, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. No hesitation, no second thoughts, no stuttering in this speech. I'm doing it. If there's a way Rob Pelinka can pull that off, it's worth the risk in my opinion. And maybe the Sixers don't value him as high just because of the injury history and how he's pretty much stopped their whole playoff progression because of his inability to perform in the playoffs. So for me, if there was a way to get Joel Embiid, I'm doing it. I don't care. You can call me delusional. You can call it too much of a risk. I don't care, man. Get Joel Embiid on this team. I'm down. He's going to rebound for me. He's going to defend for me. He can stretch the floor. He can play in the pick and roll action. He's going to have a mid-range game. He can finish at the rim. He's got a post bag. He's got everything. He has all the tools. Only thing I need him to do is I need them to wrap him up in bubble wrap. Y'all talk about day-to-day Davis. No, that's times 15 with Joel Embiid. But we can deal with it. I truly believe we can deal with it. if there's a world where we can get Joel, I'm taking it, Allan. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I
Okay, there we
like
go.
Walker Kessler. I think he would work well with a Luca and LeBron. I also saw those rumors that we could go to for potentially Laurie Marketing to Chilltown. He quoted one of our videos on
Yeah, he did.
TikTok about how we're a little bit delusional, but hey, we should be delusional if we got Luka Doncic. Now, of course, it's a miracle. Nico Harrison gave us a layup, but still, like, come on, man. Like, Laker fans don't shouldn't always be delusional, but sometimes that delusion does turn into a excellent return. I just think that Walker Kessler is a great player as well. I very much agree with Mark Trim, like the next coming of Gobert winning the defensive player of the years. For me, I kind of value Austin Reeves maybe a bit more than Walker Kessler. I just think that we're going to need another scoring option. Like I said, we can't fully rely on LeBron and Luca. Like I said, if we're going to go for a big, we have to get a big, in my opinion, who can be good on both ends of the floor, both offensively and defensively. People talking about Bam, that'd be a very good target. I think the Giannis talk is very crazy, and also Embiid is crazy, but it's very much copium, and hopefully that we can land a offensive big man. At least from my choice of centers, and you can find those centers in these in the draft. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. Like, I think it is a lot of copium, obviously. It's just one of those things. Like when your GM goes in and pulls off a Luka Doncic trade that came out of nowhere. And you know what's funny? We kind of used this example before the Luka trade. Remember, we all talked about how Rob Pelinka is just good at like making trades that nobody expects, like off the radar. Same thing with the Rui Hashimura trade. We knew nothing about it. We didn't know he was available. We didn't know they were looking at Rui. And yet it just happened. Like he wasn't reportedly on the trade block or anything like that. He just got it done. And then he just proceeds to absolutely, I don't even want to call it one up. He like 75 of himself and and got Luka Doncic because of his relationship with Nico Harrison and a coffee shop. So I don't know, man. I think I'm at this point I'm done like underestimating Rob Pelinka. Like, and it's funny, like Allan always has this quote, like, and Rob you trust until the deadline. And somehow, some way, he always finds a way to extend his grace for us as far as like the viewerships, like the fans and stuff. So Rob Pelinka right now, he's in my good graces. So whatever he has next, maybe it's a surprise. Obviously Joel Embiid, Giannis, that's kind of more of a delusional take. I do agree with that. But man, we're talking about perfect center match, man. Joel Embiid and Luka, man. Imagine, guys, just imagine all the flops we'll have on that team, bro. Imagine all the foul baiting. Like it just you'll have imagine all the blank spaces in the delay of games between LeBron James, Luka, and Joel Embiid. Complaining to the referees, man. It'll be beautiful basketball.
I think that would be crazy. Said we're about to have a Lafop and a Embiid. So it's just like it's crazy to see both guys who are not the best defenders in today's NBA. They're very much good on ball players, and it's just like that'd be a weird combination. And like I said, but another issue with that is like if one guy goes down, it'd be Luka on his own island. Like offensively, but and defensively, like Luka Doncic would be, of course, the main guy. But if LeBron and Embiid are missing dates, then that's just a logical error. That'd be like people talk about like, oh, we once we let go of Anthony Davis, the team got a little bit healthier, this and that. If we get Joel Embiid, I think that's almost Anthony Davis 2.0 times like 5 or something, because Embiid is more street clothes than Anthony Davis, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like you said, I think health is definitely a main priority. But like as far as like young bigs around the league, I know you asked questions about like who in particular. Um, One, I'll give you a guy that I just know he's not movable, but it would be like absolutely like insane if we could get him. Donovan Clingan, man. Like I love his game so much. I think like the Pacers, I think they do have like a big problem in the case that they have too many talented bigs on that roster, and they all deserve to have starting level minutes. With him and Aiden, which I know people don't like DeAndre Ayton, but I can admit that he had a good season. He's been clicking well with the Pacers, or not Pacers, sorry, with Portland. So like Donovan Clingan to me, like that's more of a dream target than Walker Kessler, in my opinion. I think he's just well rounded. He can defend. He can finish, throw him a lob, anything. He can actually play make pretty decently as well. So that's kind of a guy like my dream guy who, if we're talking about the untouchables of the world, I don't know how untouchable anybody on Portland is. But I mean, like we said, I've seen Rob Pelinka do weirder things. He got Mark Williams when nobody knew Mark Williams was available, even though he had all those issues. So yeah, I think my dream center, Donovan Clingan, man. I'm just gonna shoot my shot, man. Basketball edition. Donovan Clingan. I would love you to be a Los Angeles Laker, man. That's my dream center target right now, if it could happen.
Ideally, if like I said, if going for lower targets, like I said, Walker Kessler. Some people talk about Robert Williams. I think he only played close like 30 games, so I think that'd be cautionary. But Robert Williams would be fine per se. I think there's NBA draft topics we'll also go into who are sort of better options than Robert Williams at this point. But yeah, Robert Williams would be good. Miles Turner, who's a free agent this year, I believe, maybe a sign and trade. We could work with Indiana. But of course, with them being in the conference finals, I don't imagine they would want to break that team up too much. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of big men. But yeah, at least focusing on other big men. We'll just some free agency talk for this one. A name we got to bring up is I talked about both on one of your posts, Earl, Clint Capella. I think he's a guy I see as a value option for the Lakers in terms of free agency. I think he's worth a veteran minimum contract. If somehow the Lakers build some MLE space, I think I'd offer him that as well. I think Clint Capella is a good option. Older guy, veteran, has played in multiple playoffs for both Atlanta and Houston. Good defensively. Of course, he's a little washed. He's getting older, but that's sort of one of the reasons why he's worth a veteran minimum. That he is getting older, he is near that range, and someone that Luka Doncic I think would work significantly well with, both in the pick and roll and offensively / defensively. You're muted.
I'll say this, like, just to start this conversation off, if we can get Clint Capella for a veteran minimum or like a little bit of the MLE, not the full MLE, then I'm probably cool with it. I just don't see a world where we should be paying him a full MLE or more than that, in my opinion. I just think at this point in age in his career, he's just not worth that. But if he's like an additional piece, if he's the new Jackson Hayes role off the bench, and then we go trade for a center, I think that can be the perfect big rotation for Lakers right now, as far as from an expense standpoint of view. And I'll explain why. Like Trae Young, and Clint Capella have a really good lob connection. Trae Young is one of the best playmakers in the NBA. And Luka Doncic to me is up there too. And one thing that they both specialize is keeping their bigs engaged on the offensive end through pick and rolls, like keeping them throwing it high. They know where to place the ball. And Clint Capella, he is a veteran who knows where to be on the floor playing with a pass first guard. And to that point, he can finish under the rim. He is not Jackson Hayes. He's capable of putting the ball into the basket and not falling every other play. But what I will say about Capella is sometimes he gets a little wacky, man. It's not Jackson Hayes wacky, but he has his moments. I'll say that. Like I've been to a couple of Hawks games these last couple of years, and I've literally seen him lose games because of game-winning situations where he's just not alert. So hopefully that doesn't translate to the Lakers, but I like that idea, like a cheap center option. He's a veteran. We need more veterans, I feel like, on this team who are actually playable. I think that's a big thing. Yeah, I'll be okay with that as long as it's the minimum. If you can get on the minimum, I would almost call that a steal. But if it takes up some of the MLE, I'm cool with it too. But it's just not the full MLE, so we can make some sign-in trades and use that extra money for the difference in contracts. I'm pretty sure you can do that if you're somewhere in the, I forget which apron it is, but aprons is another conversation. That all depends on LeBron James.
Yeah, and some of our options we got Steven Adams, We also have Andre Drummond, who's also a potential free agent. Those are other older veteran bigs. I lean towards Steven Adams, but like I said, my priority would be Clint Capella, but Steven Adams would be a very good guy that I imagine will have a ton of interest around the league.
Yeah, I'm cool with Steven Adams. I think he's strong. And the one thing I love about Steven Adams is he's really good on the offensive glass. And I think there's a lot of possessions where we take bad shots, and he could definitely contribute to helping us get a lot of second chance opportunities. So I'm cool with Steven Adams. Andre Drummond, I'll still stick on this. I think it was the right player, wrong year, and we've had that case for the last couple seasons with players, Malik Monk as well, like guys who could have been contributed on this team. We just had him in the wrong season. So if Andre Drummond's name was to pop up, of course I would have Clint Capella over him. My tier list for these players would probably Clint Capella, um, Steven Adams, and Andre Drummond. Like, I, yeah, I think I like that order: Clint Capella, Steven Adams, and then Andre Drummond. So that's kind of my thought process on that.
Yeah, those are companies on there. Brooke Lopez is out there. Nas Reed, who I imagine will get a really good contract, whether it be in Minnesota or somewhere else. Steven Adams, Mo Wagner. I'd pass on Mo Wagner for him. Al Horford, he's on the older side. I would like him off the bench, but nowhere near a starter for his Laker team. Kevon Looney would be intriguing if the Warriors want to go in another direction. He'd be one of my priorities as well. We also got Dwight Powell, who seems like a forever Maverick. I saw like a funny post like Dwight Powell is turning to the next Udonis Haslam for the Mavericks, and I was like, you're not wrong, because he's been there since was it when the Mavericks like traded Rondo, or is he traded for Rondo? So yeah, he's been there for forever. We got Mason Plumlee, DeAndre Jordan, Luke Cornett could be interesting. Day'Ron Sharp, who is a been 5 years in the league, going to be a restricted free agent, but someone Lakers could go after. Tristan Vucevic, Jackson Hayes um, could be a re-signee, but I do have a player who is kind of similar to him, but I am, from my view, absolutely better than him. And like I said, we'll definitely talk about that when we talk about the NBA draft for this one. So these few Earl, at least among those options, who are like some key guys besides, of course, the stained obvious who we mentioned before.
Yeah, maybe a sleeper pick, Deron Sharp. I think that's a guy who we wanted to trade for as well. I know he's a decent defender, good rebounder, which I think is things we need on this team. Even if it's off the bench, I still think he's an upgrade over a Jemison. He's an upgrade over a Jackson Hayes. He's an upgrade over a Koloko. So when you start thinking like that, and around the margins, I think he's a guy you can have potentially as maybe a backup big option after we go trade for someone else as well. So I think looking at guys like Sharp, maybe for a backup role, I wouldn't even be mad at Clint Capella for like a vet minimum or like a little bit into the MLE, not the full MLE. I'm cool with that. But I think Rob Pelinka's focus, like now looking at these names, it has to be okay. We have to trade for a center. There is no center on this list to me that we can get that should be our starting center for the future. I just don't see that. And if you want to really make Luka comfortable, if you want to see him play and thrive in his role as a playmaker, bringing back that threat to be able to throw lobs to athletic guys, you have to go get one. And on top of that, you probably need a more athletic wing as well, which sounds crazy because we had a lot of wings on this team this season, but you need a guy you can just throw a lob to whenever you want. Somebody like super athletic. So, yeah, I think starting here, Sharp is a name that sticks out to me. Everybody else on this list, I'm probably passing on. Miles Turner, we're not going to be able to pay him unless we do a sign and trade, which I just don't think he leaves. I don't think he leaves the Pacers. Why would I leave the Pacers if I'm Miles Turner? Like we were potentially have a chance to go to the Eastern Conference. Well, we potentially have a chance to go to the NBA Finals. I'm sorry, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. I work well with Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam. Chemistry's there, and we've only been playing together for a year and a half. So I just don't see a world where he leaves personally. Nas Reed, great player. Minnesota is going to pay him. If not, some other team will as well. And Personally, I think right now our focus should be on like a rebounding lob threat center. Nas Reed is kind of more of a stretch big, in my opinion. So that's kind of my thoughts. I think Sharp definitely sticks out the most for me.
Yeah, like I said, those are big men who are definitely options for the Lakers. They are on the older side, so that's going to be one of the cautionaries for the Lakers, but definitely a big man will be priority for this one. Before we go to some draft talk, at least for you, Earl, you have any topics or anything that you heard or seen around the league revolving with the Lakers or anything in general that you do want to discuss about?
Um, honestly, any topics? I'll just say I'm looking forward to the offseason. I think it's always fun when you have a new player in your franchise and you get to kind of build around them. That being Luka Doncic in this situation, and I think this is just the beginning. Like a lot of Lakers fans who were disappointed on how we finished the season. It was an incomplete roster. Like this roster was not built for Luka Doncic. It was built for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So once we start trading away some of these guys are gonna be guys you guys love. It's gonna be some of your favorite players, but I promise you, you'll have new favorite players. Like that's how it works, man. For every player you're attached to, there'll be another one to come in and they'll give you the same nostalgia, the same effect, and another player for you to kind of fall in love with and as a Laker. So I'll just say that nobody on this team is safe. Like after what happened in the playoffs, nobody on this roster is safe. Rui is not safe. Reeves is not safe. Vando is not safe. DFS is not safe. Jackson Hayes is not safe. Koloko is not safe. Trey Jemison is not safe. I think he got cut. Actually, I forget what happened with him. Allison is definitely not coming back to this organization. No. Keebler, you're gone, buddy. I'm sorry. That contract is too juicy for you to be on our team any longer. Sorry. But yeah, nobody on this team is safe. No one. I don't know if I forgot a name. Oh, Gabe Vincent, you're definitely not safe, buddy. Yeah, but that's kind of my thought process. And you know what? Another topic. Just throwing there. Bronny James. Like, I think Bronny, I've seen the reports too, like people talking about it. I think I almost call him like LeBron James, even though he is. I think Bronny James has a legitimate case to be a rotational player next year. And to his credit, like I'll talk a lot about that Bucks game. I think he played like a true vet that game. And he looked good. Like he looked comfortable playing against like starting level guys. Like it's different when you're playing in garbage time and you have to throw up a couple shots in less than a minute or 2-3 minutes left of a game compared to when you're starting a game and playing through 1 through 4 quarters. So I think with a couple reps, I think Summer League this year is going to be absolutely fun to watch. I think Bronny's going to take over, and he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. So that's all I got to say, Allan. Like besides like getting into the draft stuff.
Yeah, and also, Earl, it's possible that you can open it, that the link I shared in the chat, and also share it on the screen.
Yeah, let me do that real quick. Sorry. I have to open up on a different tab for some reason. For like, I don't know how long, I just can't see your messages for some reason here. I've never been able to fix it. Okay. I'm about to blow that right now. Share screen. Application window. All right, here we go. And we're live. Got you all set up here, Allan, when you're ready.
Okay, Brady, this is the NBA draft talk for the Lakers and everything NBA in general. Like I said, that's the big board for the NBA that I could find with all the names for that one. Of course, number one is Cooper Flag, number two, Dylan Harper, three, VJ, Ace Bailey, Canepo? I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's how
Canepo,
you say it. Con Canepo, Jeremiah Fears, Trey Johnson, Noah Charori, who's more down than what this mock draft has. Thomas Saber, who's gaining recognition to other players. Igor, BYU name that we could see in the top five. But yeah, like I said, focus on the Lakers pick. But at least for you, Earl, like what are some names that have stood out to you?
For me, I think. Oh, my fault. I think I'm echoing. So far in the NBA draft, I think one of the biggest names who stuck out to me is, hold on, I want to say his name right because I made a video about it. I think it's Taha Pettifor. I seen his clips. Like I was
Yeah,
obviously I live like in Georgia, so like Auburn's like really close. And we watch a lot of those games. So seeing him like kind of bet on himself and take the leap and decide to declare for the draft and seeing how he's performing there, like he's been playing absolutely amazing. Like, and shout out to Allan as well. He's been doing really good coverage on Playoff LAL TikTok about like a lot of potential draft picks and their stock going through the camp and stuff like that. But yeah, he looked nice, like marking a 42-inch vertical, had 20 plus points in a game. Defense looked solid. Playmaking was there too. And when you see a guy like at that size, pretty much hitting on every single category you expect versus the top guys who are projected to be better than him in this draft, like it's always impressive. And this is kind of a league that's trending towards like the bigger side of things. Like we have pretty much 7-foot guards now in Victor Wembanyama who can pretty much do everything. So the art of like the 6 foot, I'll say maybe 6'2" with shoes. Had a funny thing about that with shoes and non-shoes measurements, which is cool. But yeah, I think he's been playing absolutely amazing. I think he definitely boosted the draft stock a lot. Also like a more obvious name here, Dylan Harper. Like going into the draft, like I knew Dylan Harper was that guy, but like now hearing it from like pretty much every NBA executive about how he's guaranteed to be two and how the Spurs imagine him playing next to well, if they use the pick, obviously, next to Fox, next to Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, like as a 3 guard lineup, because they have so much confidence in his abilities. Like it's just opening up a lot of eyes. So that too. And then of course VJ Edgecombe, super athlete. I mean, we've seen the verticals, like he tested really well. I think it was in either group 1 or group 2. I think he led his group, which was impressive to see. And then like Concanopoulos as well, like he's moving up. Obviously, he was a little bit like smaller as far as height compared to what people thought. Like not really that much smaller, but like the measurements, and then people were saying his weight was a little bit bigger than what they thought as well, which is cool. But yeah, I'm a Duke fan, so obviously I'm a rock with my boys. Seeing both of my guys go top 5 would be absolutely insane. Well, yeah, I think he provides a lot of value. Like going at number 5. Who has the 5th pick, by the way? I kind of forgot. I don't think I can see it here. Oh, you're muted. My bad.
maybe like Charlotte,
Okay,
possibly,
bet.
or like the
Okay,
Pelicans. I
okay,
don't know. I think the Pelicans have like the third or fourth pick.
okay,
Let me
bet.
check.
Yeah, I think depending on what team he can go to, because I don't want to be another Reed Shepard situation. Trey Johnson.
Okay. Okay, so number 1 is obviously the Mavericks. 2 is the Spurs. 3 is the Sixers. 4 is the Hornets. 5 is Utah,
Oof.
and 6 is
Oh
Washington.
man. Advantage to Utah. That's tough. Now, but yeah, that's kind of like my name so far. Obviously, Molly Wash as well. Like he looks good. I think you've probably seen the measurements. They were comparing his measurements to like a rookie Rudy Gobert as well. So that was pretty cool to see. Like he has defensive like build. Like seeing him like compared to somebody, I think it was a little bit stronger actually. Like his weight, base level weight. So that was cool to see as well. So like seeing him projected top 18 is cool too. But yeah, those are kind of like a couple of my guys. If we have more time, I'll go through some more too. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process for the draft.
Yeah, yeah. I think my guy in terms of the top of the draft. I do like Dylan Harper. Like I said, I also saw the report of how the Spurs could draft him, and of course, this will be for another episode. But I think that kind of clears some ways for Chris Paul to go to the Lakers. There's potential for that
Ooh.
to potentially happen, just because Chris Paul's a free agent, and although he's 40 years old, he's near that LeBron age. I
Yeah.
think Chris Paul off could be a good player to have. I think he'd help Luca in a way, being his
Mm-hmm.
backup point guard, and that'd be a good backcourt. Like having Chris Paul be the point guard, Luca shooting guard, LeBron a small forward, power forward, and center is whoever they choose in this offseason. So That'd be interesting. I'll say that to throw out there, of course, for a future project slash as a episode for the Quest for 18. Ace Bailey, I saw like a guy Compton for potentially Rashawn Lewis from the Sonics, and I was trying to like that comp. Like Rashawn
Okay.
Lewis is a guy I would want in today's NBA, and if Ace Bailey could be a Rashawn Lewis type of player, that'd be perfect. That's a role player who does his job and can give you 20 a night. So yeah, and I also watched the tape for Conconoppo. I really like him. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top five. Earl. Like I
Yeah.
watch his highlights. I do. He's a good defender. Um, some people may say like a catch and shoot player, like maybe like a Reed Shepard sometimes, like going to his draft. But I think he's better than Reed Shepard, and Reed Shepard went number 3, I think, to
Yep.
Houston. I think he's better than Reed Shepard. Conconoppo is a really good player, role player. He's the guy that fans and Laker people want Austin Reeves to be.
Yeah.
That might sound crazy, but like
Ooh, okay.
is a guy that would fit in this Lakers team right now. I think he'd fit very well. He's a catch and shoot. He can create his own shot, and he's a good defender. Maybe even better coming out of the draft than Austin Reeves. But like you said, I'm very high on Conconoppo after watching his highlights from Duke, the strengths and some other stuff.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Allan. Like adding to that, I think he's an underrated playmaker as well. Like he's a guy who can play on the ball, off the ball, and he's comfortable at both of those roles. So if he was to play with a Luka Doncic and asked to be a spot up guy, he can do that. If Luka Doncic goes to the bench, he can play that playmaking role, like kind of similar to Austin Reeves. But he can play defense, like he can hold his own on both ends of the floor. So I think his ability to create offense for other people and obviously his turnovers lead to easy transition buckets as well. I think he's a good pickup for anybody in the top five, personally. I think
Yeah,
he
it's crazy. Like,
definitely
he's like
he,
six
he
six
definitely
small. He's
was.
like 6'6", 6'7". Like you'd
Yep.
want that. Austin Reeves is like 6'5". He's like
Yeah.
two, maybe an inch shorter. So yeah, I take on over Austin Reeves.
True.
Yeah,
No, but Mark, just imagine, like, okay, playmaking is just like a bonus. Like, that's not what he specializes in. Not even that we can get him or anything like that. But he can actually play defense. I think he's more comfortable playing off the ball, which he showed in college. He can kind of do both. And he's a good defender, bro. Like he can hold his own. He can finish everything. Like everything Austin Reeves can do, he can do plus defense, respectfully. No disrespect to Reeves. I'm just saying, like, as a raw prospect, he's gonna be really good for someone's team. Unless
yeah.
you were talking
And
about
another
Chris
guy.
Paul.
Yeah, I'll throw another guy there. Rashid Fleming out of St. Joseph. I just watched his tape last night. Woo! I like him as a prospect. He can go top 10. Like Earl, I
Rasheed
recommend watching.
Fleming.
Yeah, Rashid
Okay, let
Fleming out
me.
of St. Joseph, 6'9", power forward slash center, number ranked 13. I recommend watching his tape. He's a guy who I see as both a lobster, but a guy who can drive to the rim and just dunk it with power. And also like, and at least from his stats, he's been improving. Last year, I felt like the stats were he scored like 13 points or something, but like he did very good. I didn't watch his game versus Texas, but I checked his stats. He got like 20 rebounds versus Texas, and that was like
Jeez.
the fourth or fifth game within that season, I think. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
kind of crazy.
man, Rashid Fleming has potential, and he's only like a junior. He's like was it like 20 something years old.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy who's rising up my stock. I recommend watching his tape. He's a very good player for a power forward. I would like him on the Lakers. I'll just say that, just like
I
Purple
like it,
Haze.
man. Yeah, I'll definitely. I already opened a tab with Rasheed Fleming on my computer, so we will be checking that out later.
But yeah, like I said, Tahad Pettiford, Auburn. Remember Earl's summarizing that he's been rising his stock. He was like a mid 40s player, but he definitely could be a first rounder with how he played. His day one scrimmage was great. Day two scrimmage was not the greatest. He wasn't the standout guy, but I think that's fine.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't think that a guy should stand out in both games. I think that he should stand out one game and have a role player type of game when it comes to day two scrimmages for certain players who did stand out for that one. Another guy I recommend watching is Yaxel Lendenberg out of UAB. I saw a report as well. He could maybe stay and go to Michigan. I think he could transfer there, but I highly recommend checking his tape. Shout out to was it like No Ceilings NBA? They posted a highlight clip. I watched it. like 2 months ago, and I saw Kyle Kuzma, but better.
Whoa, okay.
And that might sound crazy. Kyle Kuzma is a crazy guy, and like I said, he's primarily a shooter. But I saw some Kyle Kuzma, but better. Like he's a guy who, if you throw him with LeBron James, I think that'd work well. Like if we saw Kyle Kuzma with LeBron James, I think Axel Landenberg would work well with LeBron James, in my opinion. So yeah, I recommend checking it out. Carter Bryant is good too. Arizona, a young player, small forward, freshman, could be a good player. I'll say that. Jace Richardson is good. I'll say that. I did like him. He's only 180. I saw. Was it from, at least from this page right here? Decent player. And then some guys who's been
6'2".
rising. Colin Murray Bowles, outside Carolina, has been rising. Noah Peta from France, he did good in the recent international game that people are raving about. Um, I'll go through like some quick names here. Miles Bird out of San Diego State. I recommend checking out his day 2 scrimmage highlights for that one. Good player who could find a role on today's NBA, who could be a late first rounder potentially. And like I said, we'll go into the 40s now, which uh, this will be a one where the Lakers, in my opinion, have to trade into the 40s. I feel like they have to.
Yeah.
Uh, there's some guys who can get to 55 or they can potentially get on two ways, but 40s is where the area would be a sweet spot. This is a draft where the 40s area is a second round, late first would be very good for some teams like the Lakers or some other ones, and the 40s is good. Danny Wolf is a late first rounder who could maybe go into 20s. Some people had him earlier projected to the 40s, but I think he could definitely be a late first rounder, be in the 20s. So we'll have to see what happens with that. He would be a player if like the Lakers trade Austin Reeves away and got like into the 20s or even got to the 30s. I'd be fine with that. I think Danny Wolf would be perfect on the Lakers, in my opinion,
Ooh,
and give me
I've been hearing
Austin
a
Reeves.
lot about Danny Wolf to the Lakers. Like, okay, so you would, where do you think Danny Wolf falls in the draft?
Like in the 20s, like
Okay.
was it? I saw was it OKC has like 23, I think. Yeah, pick number 23. Yeah, he'd work well with OKC. Like that'd be perfect for them. Like
Oh
being the
my
backup to
god.
Isaiah Hartside and put him next to Chet.
I would
they,
actually be kind of sick.
they'd be a super team
Yeah, I feel like,
with Danny Wolf.
so are there what okay. Speaking of like Reeves in trades, like is there any like trade you would do like with a team to guarantee yourself a spot like in a first round or maybe late first round pick if it was at the expense of Austin Reeves?
Uh, I gotta find the order again. Uh, like I said, in the 20s, I wouldn't trade Austin Reeves to OKC. I think
Oh no, yeah, that would be kind of great.
giving
Oh
them
god, I'll be
Caruso
sick.
and also that'd be terrible. Brooklyn. Brooklyn has two picks at 26 and 27. I would give Austin Reeves to Brooklyn and get one of those picks and maybe get Danny Wolf, get Jakob Landenberg potentially at those picks. Orlando at 25. I think they could maybe use Austin Reeves on their team, get another playmaker with them.
Okay.
So that'd be something. Definitely not Boston, definitely not Phoenix at 28, 29. Indiana at 23. I don't think they would want Austin Reeves, but yeah, who knows? Atlanta 22. You think Atlanta would get Austin Reeves?
Honestly, I could probably see that. I mean, they gave up Bogdanovich. They traded away who else was it? They traded away Bogdanovich and somebody else at the deadline. Oh yeah, and DeAndre Hunter. Duh. They traded away like a lot of their contracts so they can, sign other guys or trade for larger contracts. I'm assuming this offseason. So if they're trying to fill out that roster, they definitely need some more bench production or even starting. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying bench. Like he can definitely start with the Hawks. So yeah, I think it could be realistic. I kind of random. I know this is a Lakers podcast, but I really think that the Hawks should go try to trade for Giannis, whatever it takes, because I think Giannis and Trey Young could definitely be a scary duo in the East. Honestly, and you can kind of fill out the edges because they have enough money to do it and fix those holes and those gaps in the roster. But yeah, I think they could potentially, if they did go for like a Giannis type of situation, maybe they try to go all in and get Reeves over there too.
That'd kind of be crazy. They would have to give up 13, 22. Jalen Johnson and I don't know who else is there. Dyson Daniels, I think, is on a contract.
It'll have to be something crazy, yeah, something like that,
Yes,
that type of contract, and then whatever salary fillers that match it.
crazy.
But I would do it, bro. I would trade Jalen Johnson in a heartbeat, no hesitation,
Yeah,
Allan.
yeah, like I said. But yeah, Brooklyn at 26, 26, 27, I would trade for a first round. I would trade Austin Reeves to get into that first round. I think that's
I
my crazy hot take. I'll say.
I would, you know what? If it guaranteed me someone I know that can play next to Luka for the next 7+ years and be effective, I would do it. I would
Yeah,
do it. I'm with you.
like if was it like their Queen out of Maryland, if he dropped somehow low into the 20s, potentially, I wouldn't trade Austin Reeves or Jay Richardson nor Carter Bryant. Axel Landenberg, I do like, but questionable for Austin Reeves. But yeah, like I said, if Danny Wolf is there, I would I would trade Austin Reeves away. In my opinion, he gotta go for Danny Wolf.
Yeah, Danny Wolf. I've seen the highlights, bro. Mile put me on the Danny Wolf, like a couple months ago, I think. Oh, it was a little bit ago. So, like, I definitely, man, Danny Wolf and Luka Doncic. I'm chilling with that.
Yeah. Like I said, into the 40s slash maybe late first rounders. Ryan Cockbrenner, Kaden. I think that's a good center. He's on the
Yep.
older side. He's 7'2", 260. Uh, uh, from when I posted that post on Playoff LAL on TikTok, all that. He had 2.7 blocks last season. At 7'2", getting 2.7 blocks is really good, especially in the college format. So I think he's definitely a guy the Lakers should be interested in. That definitely could replace Jackson Hayes. And then the guy who's been rising up boards from my city is Maxim Reynaud out of Stanford. And this might sound crazy, but people are talking about Hassan Yang, talking about like mini Jokic and how he's great, this and that. I think, or slash Shangun, I think Maxim Reynaud has Shangun potential.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
I
In
really
that 40
recommend you.
range.
Yeah, yeah. In the far range, he could be a late first rounder. He could be in the 28, maybe 29, 20, yeah, 2029 area. He could be a first rounder, late first rounder, in my opinion. And I
Okay.
also recommend checking out his tape, watching his scrimmages, and the tape matches the highlights from the scrimmages. It matches. Like he has potential. He's a senior 7'1". He's like 20 something years old. Like he's like young, and he'd work well with Luka Doncic. Like really work well. Like I'm not joking. Like he would work well with Luka Doncic in the pick and roll.
Ooh. Okay.
He could create his own shot. Good post player. Um, Defensively, I don't think he's gonna be like a standout defender for his Lakers team. I think that like our paint defense would increase with Maxim Reynaud, but I think that he'd be a really good guy with Luka Doncic. So yeah,
I
I
like
recommend
that.
checking out. Another guy been rising, Hassan Yang from China, 7'2". Like I said, people talk about Timo Jokic. People talk about a little bit of Shangun. Hassan Yang, I don't think is a first rounder. Some people are rising him to a first round just because of his performances in the scrimmages, but I don't think he's a first rounder. He's not a win now piece. I don't think the Lakers should take a risk at him in the 40s. If he drops down to the 50s area, and the Lakers may want him because he has very good court vision. Like I kind of put a tweet out. I kind of compare him to Lakers Marc Gasol, and that might sound
Mm.
crazy. Like Marc Gasol was washed, he was older, wasn't the best defender, this and that. But Hassan Yang, man, watch his scrimmages from day two. Like he was passing the ball very good. Like he did a bounce pass between two defenders that got
That's crazy.
that got a guy an easy layup. Like I said, Hassan Yao, China, 7'2".
7'1", 252.
Yeah.
That's a 9'3" Yeah, that's insane.
But yeah, like I said, Hassan Yang is a guy I would be interested in for the Lakers at the 40s area. Like I said, he still would be a developmental piece, but someone that would be good as a third option center. Like I said, if you draft Hassan Yang, you have to get a center in free agency. You have to get a Andre Drummond, get a Steven Adams, get a whoever, Clint Capella. Like you can't play Hassani as a second option for Lakers at center. He has to be the third option, get some time in the G League, and just develop because he's not a win now piece for this Lakers team, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and another guy is Tyrese Proctor. I've not watched his tape. I mostly left up to you, Earl, on your opinion on him. So, how would Tyrese Proctor be a good person on the Lakers potentially if he drops? Because I've seen him drop to like the 50s area on some mock drafts.
Yeah, I feel like Tyrese Proctor is definitely a tricky situation because for the most part, he needs the ball in his hand a lot to be effective. I don't think he's a great off-ball player, which could be a problem for the Lakers. Unless he was just strictly kind of like the guard off the bench for us, which could work. I mean, right now it's kind of what Gabe Vincent and Jordan Goodwin right now. Bronny James potentially like having an increased role next season. But yeah, like he's 6'5", no shoes. Like he's got the size. Defense is pretty good. I just don't. I don't know, man. Like I watch him a lot. It's just when it comes down to big moments, sometimes he's inconsistent. Like he has runs. I know. I think the better word to say it. Offensively, sure is the best way. Like he's a streaky offensive player. So that's kind of my thing. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts. Could he fit on Lakers? Maybe so. I think it just depends on who else we have on the roster. After we make trades and stuff like that.
Yeah. Another new guy from Icing who could be in the 50s as well as Sion James. I saw him in the NCAA tournament. He did good, but I'm not sure about him yet. I've watched some of his highlights. What are your thoughts on Sion James as a wing?
He's still a little bit underdeveloped in my opinion. I think Sion James, he's very athletic. He has no problem kind of getting to the paint whenever he wants to. But like as far as like his build, he's 6'6", so he plays more like a forward. But for a forward in the NBA, he's kind of small. I don't think he's like the best shooter in the world too, which could be a problem, especially on this team. Yeah, watch him play at Duke. Like he's really athletic. He's a guy who's gonna get into the crowd. He can finish. But I don't think he fits for this roster, Allan, though, and what we're trying to build. What's up, Q? Appreciate you, bro. All right, bro. Be safe, man. Have a good day. Yeah, but as far as Sion James, I probably have to pass Allan for this team, respectfully.
Yeah, I had to get my charger for a bit. Or that one.
You're good.
A couple names out of see is Johnny Brome from Auburn. He's on the older side. I would pass on him if I was Lakers. At least in my opinion. And yeah, I just think that I pass on him. He could be in the 40s area, but in my opinion, I'd pass on him for this one. Another one, yeah, like I said, going to the 50s now for this one. I know this long podcast, but like I said, this is like a review. Will definitely be these trimmed up later on YouTube a bit. That I'll try to do in the future. So yeah, like I said, 55 Lakers pick. These are key names that I recommend and do check on taping. We'll start off with Amara Williams out of Kentucky, and man, his passing ability, court vision, chef's kiss. Like I recommend watching highlights. Great passer, he worked well in the JJ Redick offense. He has very good bounce passes. He can. I don't say he can create his own shot, but he can drive towards the rim. And be a top of the key ball handler. I said, and be a good post player. It's hard to describe him, more or less to say. Like he's 7 foot, good. He averaged around like 11 points, got like nearly 8-7 rebounds per game, got like almost 2 blocks, I think, when he played in Kentucky. I think he could be potentially within a 55 area. He could be above that, but potentially, or he sometimes could be a two-way player if a team does guarantee him. But like I said, the Lakers would be a good option for him. Amar Williams out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think for us, like prioritizing like youth, And pretty much two-way guys who can rebound as well. Like you said, good playmaking as well. I'm down for it, man. I think especially in those late 50s, the Lakers do have a history of getting very creative with their draft process, and also like our unsigned guys. I think we'll probably have a couple good one of those as well.
Yeah. The next guy who's on there is Rocco Ziskarski from Australia, 7'4". He has that same ability like a Gobert, like a Serge Ibaka, and that he's a rim blocker. Like he's very athletic, shot blocker, a guy who's gonna be good defensively for the Lakers. Offensively, I have some questions. He can get you a putback dunk, rebound the ball, and do like the nitty gritty stuff. But like his main appeal is his defense as a shot blocker. And I think the Lakers could use some more shot blockers. We saw the experiment with Jackson Hayes. He stinks as a shot blocker. He can block shots, but like Rocco Zierowski from the tape alone is better. Like he's more athletic, 7'4", uses his length, very good, and just like actually he's a guy that you can back down easily, but he's a strong fella. I would say for 7'4", at like was it he's like 20 years old, I think, very young. So he'd be a developmental piece. Like I said, same thing to Hassan Young, be a third option, learn from the veteran whoever the Lakers sign, and just be good. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to like just draft a 7 foot plus dude just because I feel like one thing we've kind of done in the past is get like smaller size centers, and to Anthony Davis' complaint, he wanted to play next to somebody who was kind of big and specialized on defense. So, like you said, like as long as it's not like our main guy, I'm cool with it. And when we're talking about like late round picks, like in the 50s, I mean, assuming that they are going to be a backup or the backup. I think it's okay to take a risk like that for sure, especially if he has really good defensive upside. We're not asking him to go out there and score 40 points a game. Like that's what we have Luka Doncic for. So as long as he can kind of navigate a pick and roll setting on offense and locking on defense, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and then Earl, could you scroll up to like the 64 range for that one?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, 64 and get as up as high as 54. So
Okay.
64. So before you can view 54 and 64. Okay, so yeah. So I'll go through like these three quick names that I think could be options for 55 slash two-way contracts. We'll start off with number 54, Mackenzie Mbako. I think for Earl, you're probably familiar with him, Al Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
McKenzie.
yeah. So Mackenzie is a guy who was in the G League Invitational. He did very well and got him an opportunity to be in the scrimmages. And in day one scrimmages, he did good. I think he shot like 5 or 6 in field goal. But like I said, he was a good shooter, did his role, was athletic. I think I view him as a late second rounder, maybe a two-way contract, undrafted, just because like he wasn't that well out of Indiana. So was it? Yeah, Indiana, Texas A&M. He could potentially stay in college. I think that'd benefit him. But if the Lakers weren't interested in him, would be a two-way or at 55, I'd be okay with it. There'd be some concern, but I think that he would be a good player. My projected hope for him would be Naz Reid. Naz Reid was a player who went undrafted. I don't know. Naz Reid was a bigger player in terms of stature, weight, and strength, but like his same skills are similar to Naz Reid in that he's a spot shooter. He can do pick and pop. He can drive to the rim, create his own shot a bit. Defensively, he's not known to be a great defender from my scene, but I think Mackenzie Mbako would be decent, in my opinion. So, from your perspective, from seeing him at Duke and other stuff, what thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think he's good. And like you said, I think he's had time to kind of develop a little bit more than some of these other guys who are kind of on the younger side. And I Duke, I feel like he was still kind of like a shell of his game. I definitely think he's expanded a lot more since then. And potentially, when you have Nas Reed type upside, I think it's pretty much kind of an easy choice to go with a guy like this. Either, like you said, if it's late round pick or undrafted guy, you got to take those risks. And that's what summer league's for, to kind of see what these guys have. Like as far as defensive end, I think like it's not the end of the world. I'll say about his defense, he can definitely hold his own, but he's nowhere near like an elite or like just a crazy above average defender. I think he can definitely. He's not a guy to me who just gets blown by, which is good for us as far as like what we're looking for at that forward position. Like if we're talking about like a potential Rui Hachimura replacement at best case, I know that's kind of drastic. I get it, throw him out there. But if we're talking about like a 6'9" guy, he is slightly athletic. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, so he can finish at the rim. He can do pretty much everything he can do. I think he probably baseline to me. He's a better rebounder than Rui, which would definitely be a plus for this team. But yeah, I think it's definitely a guy I would go and take a risk on for sure.
Yeah. If you can go back to the list for players. Wait,
Oh my bad. Let me go back.
good. They're good. Another guy who's on there, number 55, Kobe Brea. He had an excellent day 2 scrimmage from my seeing from the stats and watching them highlights. I peeped that. Shout out to the experts out there. They pointed out. He got 16 points. He shot 4 for 8 from 3. Got 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers in
Oh,
30 minutes. So those are some solid
okay.
stats for a day 2 scrimmage. Like I said, I do recommend check out his day 2 scrimmage. Check him out his highlights. I think that he could be option at 55. He's a guy that he's not gonna make the NBA due to like his all around skill still, but he can make the NBA due to his shooting. He shot 4 for 8. I liked his shot. That shooting was it shooting rate? Not shooting range, but like I don't know, shot basically. I think he'd be well if the Lakers looking for some shooters for at the wing position. He's like 6'6", 6'7", right? Yeah,
Yeah.
6'6", 7. Not the best defender from my scene. I think that maybe he is definitely. I do have to watch more. I'll say that. But I think that Kobe Bryant could be a decent option at 55 from this mock draft board. Next guy, Ryan Nemhard of Gonzaga, transferred from Creighton. Of course, the brother of Andrew Nemhard, one of my favorite guys from the 2022 2023
Oh,
draft. Ryan Nemhard is, I'll say he's sort of showing the same to Andrew. Now, he's not at the range of Andrew, where Andrew was a first rounder. I think Ryan Nemhard could be a late second rounder, maybe mid second rounder, potentially if teams really do like him and he performs well in the workouts. But yeah, he's like I say he's the same person as Andrew, but he has potential as Andrew. I'll say that. He could be Andrew, but in a lesser value. Sort of like how like Tyus Jones was like really good
yeah.
for like teams. And
Yeah.
obviously, like was it like Trey Jones for the Spurs is like below him?
Yep.
It'd be like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if he can have any traces of what his brother's doing right now as a role player, I think it's definitely worth some type of risk. So that's pretty cool to hear.
yeah. He'd be the option. Like if the Lakers do trade Gabe Vincent away, he'd be an option for the Lakers. I'll
Okay,
say that.
I like
I,
that.
I wouldn't choose him because, like I said, their main priority should be wings and bigs. But if
Hmm.
Lakers buy the NBA draft trade Gabe Vincent for whoever, or package him in whatever deal that they do want to do, Ryan Hemhard would be a good person that Lakers go after. And then last guy is 64, Eric Dixon. There's an ad on there. If
Oh, let
you
me
can
move.
scroll down a bit, you're good.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. There we go.
Yeah, Eric Dixon out of where's it? Al Villanova. I do recommend checking out his tape. He could be a hidden gem. I'll say that he could be a hidden gem. He's a guy who you could throw at the top of the key, and he can create his own shot. Like he's a left-hander. I wouldn't say he's similar to Julius Randle. Could that be a cop out and that'd be like false advertising in a sort of way? But he has the trait of Julius Randle where he can just, was it like Kaden? Like he asks the players to go downhill, they go for a layup, this and that. Like he's a guy who
Yep.
can go downhill. Like if you watch his tape, he can go downhill. He can get the ball, and whoever's defending him, he can drive at him and use his physical strength. Get to him. Good passer. He showed the similar traits to Amari Williams in that he can get some passes, bounce passes, and find some key cutters. Like, yeah, Eric Dixon would be one of my guys at 55.
I like that. Yeah, I definitely feel like anytime, like you mentioned before, like we can use any type of wing, 6'9", a guy who can kind of finish at the rim, go downhill. I feel like those type of players specialize with Luka Doncic. I think about like Derrick Jones Jr. as well, super athletic guy. Maybe not as stocky, of course, but having guys like that for Luka to play with, I think helps a lot. Like it opens up his game more. So I think maybe they could be a nice pairing, especially if we can get him for like this late pick, or even say he goes undrafted. I think that's definitely a good option as well. So I think compared to like the last couple of years, last year I don't think we had the best luck with our undrafted pool of players. So hopefully this year we can kind of strike more. Even so, because we went into the season knowing like this draft class is gonna be super deep. So I'm hoping that that means Rob Palinka and the boys, we can actually lock in and get some guys, some uncut gems, we'll call them.
Yeah, I'll say he's a good replacement for Vando.
I
I'll
like
say
that.
that. I think that like we're all unhappy about Vando being a non-shooter, non-impactful player on the floor. Besides his defense and versatility here and there, Eric Dixon would be would replace that. I think I'll say that. So
Yeah.
yeah, going back to names, I'll say the last two guys who like I said must want players from our team. Let's get to 75. Lad Golden, man. 75. Let's go down a bit to 75. Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
Yes, so Vlad Golden, and I wish Jake was here, like because he would explain it more than me. Because like I said, he's a Michigan guy, but I'm not impressed with Vlad Golden. I think he could go undrafted. You know, he could be a pick at 55 for the Lakers, 7-1 center. I'm not impressed. I watched his scrimmages. He was he was a non-factor. I'll say that.
Man,
They won
okay.
they won they won scrimmage. The biggest didn't get enough touches in his team has scrimmages. I think was it I think Todd Pettiford was in that same scrimmage as well. I don't remember if they were on the same team, but like I said, the guards took over that game more than the big man. So he was very much a non-factor. Second scrimmage, um, did not show any was not a standout guy. And you know who was a standout guy? And I believe did play in the same scrimmage as him. Hassan Yang.
Cool. Gotcha.
Hassan
Yeah.
Yang. Hassan Yang was in the same scrimmage I believe against him, and he was better than Golden. Now Golden got some couple putback downs, rebounds, this and that, but like Golden was not a standout. And I think that some people talking about he can get a Euro contract somewhere. That'd be a potential option. He could get two-way deal. He could get drafted, maybe. Who knows? But I wouldn't like him on the Lakers. Like us as fans, we complain about hustle. We complain about this guy's not rebounding, this and that. I did watch that Michigan versus Auburn game. I don't know if you watched that game too, Earl. And we,
Yeah.
we, we, we all saw that game that Danny Wolf was the guy, right? Yeah. Guy Golden was a non-factor. Like, was it Brown? Was it Johnny Brown from Auburn? He out hustled him
Yeah.
in that game, and I kind of
Yeah.
view that as my opinion. And big man who I want, I don't want them on the Lakers. And
I
Golden would
respect
be it,
that.
just in my opinion. So how you
Yeah.
feel about Golden?
No, I agree with you. I think it's like one of those things where like some bigs are tall and skilled and some bigs are just tall. Like and I think that's maybe the case for Golden as well. Like he has height, but I don't think he's more of a finesse player compared to some other guys at his same height, same position, that can bring more value to the Lakers as well. So I didn't really get a chance to watch his film, but I know I'll take your word for it. If he wasn't like contributing at a high level, then that is a little bit concerning, especially to the case like the point. Like most of these things, like this is your chance to boost up your draft stock. Like if you're not out here like showing anything memorable, like I'm not even saying like you have to go out there and score 20 plus points, but okay, be on the glass consistently. Okay, get some tough defensive stops. Play with a lot of energy, hustle a little bit more. So if he just wasn't noticeable like that at all, and then he is like 25, so as far as like the his ceiling is pretty much almost like it's probably maxed out for what he can do at that size as well. So yeah, I'm kind of with you, man.
Like for I had the stats for his day two game: 4 points, 2 for 3, 0 for 2 from the line, 4 rebounds, 2 offensive, 2 defensive, 1 block in 14 minutes. I know it's 14 minutes, but come
Yeah.
on, man. 4 points at 7-1.
All you
That's
got to
not
do
good.
is put your hand up and score.
That's just not good, man. And Hassan Yang in that game, he got like, was it like 16 points, 6 rebounds, and like 6 assists.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, like, but if he can get a plus 10 points, plus 5 rebounds, and plus 5 assists in that game, come on, man. Come on,
Yeah.
Golden. That's just good. And then let's see here. 7, Hunter Silas, a guy from Wake Forest, transferred out of Gonzaga. He's a potential 3-and-D guy. I think, I'm not going to say he can be a Gabe Vincent replacement, but he'd be Gabe Vincent, like 2.0 in a sense. Like,
Okay.
he doesn't have the same shot Gabe, but he'd be a 3-and-D guard, basically. Just not the same shot making as Gabe. So, like, you know how Gabe's inconsistent? That'd
Yeah.
be almost as same as Hunter Silas. But he did shoot really good in his day one scrimmage. Like, he was one of the standouts for the day one scrimmages there.
Yeah. I think finding like cheaper options, obviously, to replace Gabe Vincent is definitely probably a priority to Lakers as well, especially if you want to trade for a big and maybe you don't want to go for the whole home run and trade Reeves. Maybe you can pair up Gabe's contract with like a maxi contract as well or something like that to get, an obvious center upgrade. So you'll definitely have to replace that production somehow. Like even if it is Bronny, you still need another guard addition into that to fill out the bench again.
Yeah. And then lastly, like I said, we'll go into our 2 names that for I'm looking at as Laker options. We're gonna go to number. Where's his name again? Is he too high? I lost the name. Well, one of the names is at number 63. 63 is one of the names I'm looking at. And his name is Jameer Watkins out of Florida State. Now, shout out to a couple Lake reporters. They kind of put me on his name, and I checked his highlights. I kind of missed him on day one because I was focused on Tahad Pettiford and some other names. But his day 2 scrimmage, that's money. That can get him picked in the middle of the second round. Jameer Watkins, 6'6", 215, small forward. He could play shooting guard a bit too. Like I said, he's a wing. He's a 3-and-D guy. 23 points, I believe, in his second scrimmage. He got 5 steals, 4 or 5 steals in that game. He was picking people's
Jeez.
pockets. Like
Like straight up
if
like
you search
taking it, not like bump, like just
he was picking some pockets, bro. If you
okay.
look at his if you search up Jameer Watkins on X, yeah, you'll see why. But yeah, like he would be a solid wing for the Lakers. He's like a guy. Yeah, I think he's a guy. I think he's a guy who could be a win now player, a guy that you can find as a hitting guy, and a guy that's just like he could be a starter. Like I can say that he can be I'm not gonna say he could be a day one starter, but he can guy who will play behind Austin Reeves or whatever, and he can develop well, and the fans are gonna really gonna like him as a defender. Like I said, Vando is a non offensive threat who can be a good wing defender. That's not Jameer Watkins. Jameer Watkins can be a very good defender and a guy who can create his own shot. I'll say.
Oh, I'm looking at the highlights now. Putting him next to Luca, 23 points, 5 steals, and 2 made threes. And he's athletic enough to finish. It looks natural. I don't know, Allan. That might be my top one now, man.
Then there's some reports of him potentially like he could return to college, but like with his day 2 scrimmage, his size, length, and everything, he could be a pick in this year's draft. And if
Bro, I
somehow
love that.
if a team could convince him to be a 2-way contract, that's even better.
Yeah,
But yeah, like 55, if you trade up, Jameer Watkins would be a solid player for the Lakers.
I
He
like
he
it.
would be a amazing. I'll say that he'd be amazing.
And he's just picking up full court, just straight athlete. And he doesn't look like that awkward type build. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to like Jared Vanderbilt because I think he's great. I just think like the way like he stands, the way he moves, it just looks like natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just a pure athlete. So yeah, I like it, bro. I like this. I like this pick a lot.
Yeah, like I said he's a guy who, if he was younger, like say he was a sophomore, 6'7", out of Florida State, or I don't know, maybe out of like Kentucky or whatever big name college, he'd be a top 15 pick. I'd say.
I can see it.
But due to him being a senior, he's gonna turn 24, I think, from what I saw. He's on the lower end. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, I like it, man. Like back to back years taking kind of like older players. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. And then the last guy, of course, it's a long podcast. Thank you, these people who showed up. You can check this out on replay, everything going on. The last guy I do want to talk about is Yannick Konen. Uh, yeah, Yannick Konen, number 52. I forgot how to say his last name. It's like need something. Need Hauser. There you go. Need Hauser. Because he's from Switzerland. But yeah, Earl, look up at his highlights.
This dude right here?
Yeah. This guy is a replacement for Jackson Hayes and better. I'm putting my flag on the ground. He's better than Jackson Hayes, and he's only 22 years old. He's 2 years younger than Jackson Hayes.
Straight up.
The same thing. Lob threat.
And he's 7'1".
Athletic. 7'1". Earl, he is a guy I want the Lakers. Shout out to people. If you record me, it's whatever. But like, yeah, he is a guy I would want the Lakers. Yannick Konen out of Penn State. Like he did great on both scrimmages, day 1, day 2. A couple putback dunks, a couple lob dunks, a couple blocks, this and that. Yannick Konen out of Penn State is my ideal target for the Lakers. He is my guy. Like, shout out to Dreamer Watkins, he could be great. But like, in terms of big man and what at least my opinion, needs for the Lakers and priority, Yannick out of Penn State is my guy for the Lakers. And if the Lakers had to trade up, give up Shake Milton, give up Gabe Vincent or whoever to get him, do it. Do it.
Oh my goodness, he looks so athletic on the glass, on putbacks, contesting, long rebounds. I like it, bro. Oh my goodness. Yeah, bro. I like him. I like it a lot because we talk about like some bigs being awkward, especially at that size. Like he looks just natural. I think he can play well next to Luka. He looks like he's moving his feet well on the defensive end. Like I'm watching his clips from the draft combine. Like in his timing, his defensive timing. Remember we talked about how who was it? It was why can I not remember his name? The center we drafted, or he was what was his name? You know who I'm talking about. And he always used to get in foul trouble. He was from Florida. You know who I'm talking about, Allan?
Sorry, I was talking TikTok. You say something?
Yeah, I was saying, like, do you remember that center? Who was the center from Florida we had who had horrible defensive timing?
Colin Castleton?
Yeah, it's Colin Castleton. I was saying, like, he looks very well composed on the defensive end. Like, it looks like his timing is there. He's not like overly aggressive chasing blocks, but he has a long enough reach to kind of recover and time it correctly. So yeah, I watched his highlights. I'm watching some right now. He looks incredible.
Yeah, like I recommend watching like his college highlights, but also watching the scrimmage highlights. I don't know which one you're watching, his scrimmages or his highlights.
I was watching his combine highlights.
Yeah, his combine highlights. Yeah, check that out. Those are great highlights.
He looks solid. Like he looks like in the flow of a game. He's not trying to do too much, but he's everywhere. If that makes sense. Like he's active. I like it, bro. And he doesn't look awkward. Like we talk about how awkward Jackson Hayes is at times. Like he doesn't look like he's awkward. He looks comfortable playing his role. Like he's 7'1". We need size, bro. That's a huge upgrade. Huge.
And we talk about like we sort of said like most of the people who've been paired with Luka has been lob threats. Jackson Hayes, Derek Lively, Gafford. Yannick Konen would be a lob threat and a guy. Like I say, he has the offensive bag compared to like the other guys like Lively and Gafford, but he'd be on par offensively compared to Jackson Hayes. Like we all know Jackson Hayes limitations are lob threat and like sometimes the post here and there or like get a putback dunk. Yannick can do that. And
Yeah.
if you can get that on a cheaper contract and not have to resign Jackson Hayes, or I don't know if you do resign Jackson Hayes, it is what it is. With that, Rob will have that, and whatever happens with that happens.
Yeah.
But Yannick is a guy that if you can get him like on a cheaper contract for 2 or 3 years, that'd be perfect. And by
Yeah.
then
I
he'd be like
agree.
25 and play next to Luka Doncic, play next to LeBron James. Like that'd be perfect for a young player who is a lob threat. Play next to those two playmakers.
Yeah. I agree. I think it'll make his job easy, and like we said, like Luka Doncic having like a Derek Lively type, a Daniel Gafford, athletic guys who can catch lobs, defend. It just makes his game a lot easier. And I think him not having that in the playoffs definitely held us back a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, his offensive game would be questionable. Defensively, like I said, although his scrimmages and highlights are good, from the experts, from what I read, there is some concerns of him defensively. It's not like they're like big concerns, but like some concerns. I'll say that. But yeah, that's very much it's like the small stuff. Like I said,
Yeah.
he's a senior, 7'1", 22 years old. Like I said, age and something like limited bag in today's
Yeah.
NBA. I'm not gonna say like you had to take him off the floor to go a small ball, but it's like, yeah, he'd be in the same category as Jackson Hayes. And like I said, second round pick compared to a guy who was a first rounder,
True.
like it's just you have to get him. Plain and simple,
Yeah.
you have to get him.
I agree. I'm cool with that too.
So
And I'll
yeah,
say this, like I remember us going on this show like a couple years ago, talking about Derek Lively, and how he would be a perfect fit on the Lakers. Who knows? In a different world, if we got Derek Lively, I mean, we probably wouldn't be talking about Luka right now because he would have easily earned his minutes and he easily could have been that center next to Anthony Davis, for the future. But yeah, I like these names. I think they're really it's got me more excited. I have film to watch. I have like 5 or 6 tabs open with names Allan's giving me. So I'm definitely gonna do my homework tonight and study up and make sure I'm ready some more for next week. Then kind of break down some more film.
yeah, yeah. That's all I have for names. I definitely will try to look up more. I don't try to look at the 2-way contracts. I kind of wait until the Lakers report who are like the players they work out because that's
Mm-hmm.
where it makes the process easier. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just like those names from what I've seen and mock drafts and like of course the combine who were names available. Those guys were the players I watched tape on and saw they were great. Yannick and Jameer Watkins would be my guys, top two guys in the second round. Do I think
got you.
if they were younger, they would be first round picks? So
I
yeah,
like it. Yeah, I'm down with it. I think obviously when you get the chance to pick up value in the second round, you take it. So I'm cool with it.
yeah. But yeah, these for your Euro, these talking about the draft. Like, what are like your final thoughts before we end the podcast? We for sure won't do a tier list. Like I said, I kind of want to save that. Also, this has been a long pod, but yeah, very much a great pod in terms of we talking about
Yeah,
NBA draft and everything going on. So yeah,
yeah. I'll
let's
say first
give
of
some
all,
thoughts.
I'll say like I had a great time. Obviously, we'll be back more consistent. We kind of took a couple weeks off. I mean, we had a lot of back to back like holidays. Mother's Day was last Sunday. Before that, we had some other stuff. Easter a couple weeks ago. Like we just had a lot of different things like stack up, and then obviously we're transitioning to the off season. But Quest for 18 Pod, we're back for the summer, and we were here to update anything, trade rumors, anything like that. I'm very excited. And as far as like this episode, I had a good time talking draft names. I definitely have more homework. Like I said, I got my tabs open of guys I have to watch, and I'm gonna do some more research on my end to see like who or other guys we can kind of slot in here as well. So yeah, have fun. I think for me, I'm very excited. I think Rob Pelinka has become very unpredictable now after the Luka trade. So who knows? Like Allan said, we could have a situation where we trade Austin Reeves and get ourselves into the wealthy crop of these good draft picks in this stack lottery this year. So I don't know, man. I don't know what Rob Pelinka is gonna do, but if we can trade up a little bit in that second round, I think there's a lot of valuable names that we can definitely bring to this team who can make immediate impact. And then there's guys that can go undrafted that can be future pieces, assets that we can put on South Bay, let them develop and bring them up in the next couple of years. So We talked about this going into the season. This is one of the most stacked draft classes we're gonna have because this one's like really top heavy, but the middle of the draft as well is really good, and then the floor of the draft is still good players, but they just have to be a little bit older. So I'm excited, man. I think it's definitely gonna be a lot better draft than last year. No disrespect to that class. I think we kind of described it as being like kind of a role player draft, but this draft has like star potential, plus role player plus. I'll call them, like they have a lot of role player plus players. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm curious to see what Rob does. Obviously, we have to get through the finals and stuff like that, and the draft before we can see some big moves happen.
It definitely, yeah. I had a great time. Shout out TikTok Live. 2 people in there. A guy who's been watching. I won't say his name because it's pretty ridiculous name a bit. But yeah, shout out to you, man. YouTube, shout out YouTube as well. Everything going on. I know. I think you're live on Twitter. Earl. Shout out people who are on
Yes,
Twitter.
sir. Shout out Twitter
Like
game.
who are people? What's the amount of people watching there on Twitter? For you.
See. I honestly don't have it pulled up at the moment, which I should have.
Yeah. Well, whatever that amount is, whatever that amount is, shout out to you guys for staying this long. Whether it be 20, 30, whatever, one, I don't care. NBA draft is a fun time. We'll definitely be more condensed in the future. But like I said, it's just like those are just names and people we talk
We had
about.
29. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out people who were there. Yeah, like I said, the NBA draft is a fun time. I myself like the off season more than the regular season just because like I feel like we complain in the regular season more than off season.
Yes.
Like obviously we'll complain off season. Rob Plica making ridiculous moves, being a bad GM. Shout out to Puff LAL. The tweet was it the post choosing THT over Alex Caruso. Worst decision.
Yep.
We can go. We can have a separate episode about that. Talk about how that was a terrible trade, a terrible signing, etc. This and that. But yeah, just overall.
Sickening.
Thank you all for joining. My final thoughts to say that my thing I'll do, it's a hot take as well. I will trade my profile pick to Rob Pelinka. If the Lakers trade Austin Reeves for the 27th or 20th pick to Brooklyn and get like Danny Wolf or get like a really good player, they can do what. Well, I don't know if it was Rob or Mitch Kupchak, but like, remember that time where the Lakers trade D'Angelo Russell, and was it like something for Brook Lopez in a first round pick?
Yeah.
If the Lakers can do that and get like a Danny Wolf or whatever and trade Austin Reeves for back into that first round and get a player, I will change to my profile to Rob Pelinka. I will be singing the praises of Rob Pelinka. Shout out to Austin Reeves, he's a great player, this and that, but like, get into that first round, Rob Pelinka if you can. So yeah, I think that's like my final hot take for that one.
I love it, man. And yeah, I think that's all I got. I'm excited for next week's episode, and we'll have more drafts with the breakdown. And of course, another week means more. Another week of Lakers trade rumors and speculations. The LeBron saga, summer of 2025. We got it all coming next week as well.
Yeah, definitely we'll go to more news. A little less draft talk because, like I said, it's going to slow down. We'll hear, maybe we'll see some workout names, which we'll go into. But yeah, definitely thank y'all for joining. This is the Quest for 18 podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Earl, joined by Earl, and of course we'll have Jake in the future. Shout out to him. That's one of our co-hosts. And yeah, as always, is go Lakers. Have a great rest of your day. Thank y'all for joining. Peace out, buddy.